Hi, it's March 13th. It's a beautiful sunny day and we're here at the Animal Control and Adoption Center with Liz. Liz is going to be the basically operator of this facility when we finished. We'll turn it over to her. I guess she took the place of Misha. So with that, we'll take a look inside and see where they're up to. So we're here in the main admin area for the new facility. As you can see, the roof structure's in. Kind of a nice feature here where it comes up and over, not just a plain ceiling. It's all exposed ductwork in here, so you can see the diffusers coming down in the corner. We'll have 4 windows. There'll be a doorway behind you, and then this will actually open to the main office area, the main entrance area. The main entrance area and desks will sit here. The front entryway will be over here. And then from that, you'll either go to the visitors side for the adoption side, or you'll go down the technical side for the receiving side. So we'll come on down here and we'll have a look at the main entrance and have a wander up in the loft and then go through a few of the rooms. So at about the 12-foot line here, we'll have a little ceiling comes across. We'll have a little storefront on the inside there just so that when you open the door it doesn't come in. And then this will be the main entranceway. Great view of the Iowa River in the background there, and take a look up in the mechanical loft. So we're actually in the mechanical loft here. At the far side where you see the sheet of OSB board in the wall, that's where the louver will be. Then you'll have some ducts coming in. That's where the air intakes and exhaust will be. The energy recovery units will sit up there for bringing new air in and exhausting the old air out and interchanging the energy on that. The makeup air units and all the air handling will be down at that end, and then we'll be pushing this way and pulling back in all these lines that you see to the side of me. The hydronics here, the glycol lines will be dropping down. Typically they drop down to what is here a heat pump. So basically the heat pump cools the air in the summer or heats it in the winter and then delivers the local air so that you get zone-specific heating or cooling. So each set of ducts that you see go down go to a certain area. Over on the right-hand side here, we have a little data hub where we'll just basically put the Cat5 cable, run that in, or Cat6 as it is now, and have all the wire racks in here. Right on the side of you here is the local heat pump for the entrance area. So right here I'm in the area where the mechanical units will start, as I will call it, en masse. So that area will be purely mechanical air handling. There'll be a wall here, there'll be a second exit stair here for the upper mezzanine. As you can see, the carpenters are still laying the floor in here, still doing the walls. The OSB that you see on the ceiling, that's not just simple OSB board, that's actually the SIPs, the structurally insulated panel. So what that does is it gives you a sandwich construction where you have 2 layers of OSB, 2 layers of wood, and in between that you have a foam insulating layer. So it means that you don't have to hang fiberglass up underneath, and it acts as a structural component as well. So all these frames were pre-manufactured off-site, and they came and we set them up and span from side to side and put the SIPs on them. It's kind of a neat system. If you spin the camera around, you'll see the whole length of the loft. Here's just construction lighting. We'll put some fluorescent tubes, T1s, T2s, T4s down the length of it, or LEDs. So with that, we'll go downstairs towards the back and make our way through, and I'll have Liz tell you what she's going to use all the specialized areas for. Right now, we're basically in the southeast corner annex. This is going to be Liz's found dog area. So she's going to have kennels down here, walls, wash down floor, things like that. That's what the little blocks of OSB around the sides are just opening it out. So Liz, why don't you tell us a little bit about the found dogs?
So in the found dog area, this is where dogs will first come and live for a few days when they arrive at the facility. Hopefully they will be reclaimed by their owners. If they're not, they'll spend some time in here. And this room, it's important that we are able to wash it down in case the dogs are carrying something that might be contagious to other dogs or to people. And they'll have indoor-outdoor access for safety reasons. If the dogs aren't handleable, if they're fractious, it's safer for us to let them go inside and outside on their own to go potty and then come inside to get warm. So we're really excited about this area because it's separate from the rest of the facility, and so it can be sort of a quarantine area before they go into the rest of the building.
So we're here in a typical area in the central, I call it the central aisle of the building, where there are a lot of specialized rooms going down here. When we look above us, what you'll see every other joist is an actual joist, and every other joist is an actual frame. So what happens is we bring the frames in here and they support the roof. But because there'll be a floor load above there, we actually joist that out. A lot of the materials that you're seeing right now, they'll be the finished products down the corridor as a way of providing a little granularity, a little aesthetics. The finish on the OSB, we're going to maintain that throughout, the raw lumber and that. So we'll have to clean that up a little. Some other rooms will have suspended ceilings in, things like that, decorative walls or wash down walls or block walls. We'll talk about that later. But in the main, on the corridors, you will see that open OSB framework look. So we've got an I-beam in here that we need to set and get up and prime that. Of course, once the load goes on there, we need to have that in before. We're still working on the southwest annex, and the reason for that is it has a special block that we'll go and show you later on. So with that, I'll turn you over to Liz, and she can explain basically how the center core of rooms works. Because I believe your receiving will come on this end and slowly but surely make it to the adoption side and hopefully go out.
That's right. That's right. So we are also calling this the core operational part of the facility. And all the way through the middle of the building are rooms that will be used both for people and for dogs and for cats. And the adjacent areas on either side of the building hold dogs and cats. So they're separated by species. And the laundry room where we're in now and a food storage room will be used on a daily basis, multiple times a day. Would not believe how much laundry the animal shelter has to do. So this is really exciting because the access on both sides makes it really easy and much more efficient for staff to use this kind of room.
Yeah, I guess you got to feed the dogs 3 times a day and scoop the poop. Yeah. And just to mention that, I mean, the building has a lot of things that you don't really notice unless you're actually in here operating it or cleaning the area, that a lot of places don't have. But for me, when I was looking at the plans, I'm like, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's interesting. And you could see right away, a lot of the dog runs here have a wash down trough, so we supply water at the end, so you can just turn that on and bring that down. A lot of the return air and the supply air, very well done, so that will be energy efficient. We won't be cross-contaminating. And that's the reason why when we were up in the loft, you didn't just see one domestic furnace blowing a little bit of air, and if one dog's got a cold, everything else in the plant's got a cold. We got to treat this almost like a hospital in that we don't know what animals you're going to bring in. I mean, a dog could come in with anything from a common cold to rabies, and
that's right. Yeah. So we
you've
really
got
have
to deal
to
with all ends.
Yep, we have to think about the safety of the animal, but we really need to think about the safety of our public too. So it's important to be able to have those types of features and at the level that we have them to keep everybody safe.
So it looks a little odd that we have the roof trusses in here and we don't have the exterior wall, but there is no real exterior wall here. This is aluminum storefront. What that basically is just an open window. So we attach that to the bottom of the trusses. The trusses are cantilevered over. They're specifically designed to bear on an interior wall, and then the windows will go in here. In the background, what you can see is the specialized glazed block that we specified for the Animal Control and Adoption Center. Certain areas have this beautiful glaze, and in addition to the nice colors, what it does is it makes it easy for maintenance, i.e. things aren't being absorbed into the blocks itself. You don't have to paint it all the time. You don't have to worry about the dog biting at metal. So this has been found over 20 or 30 years to be the best product for animals and hygiene. And it's very similar to a lot of the things that you'll see in hospitals. So, like I said before, a lot of the features with the OSB will be drawn out on this. And so if we look up above us, you can see the spiral round ductwork. You can actually see the roof opening for the registers being cut in it. You can actually see some piping up there. We've arrived at the center annexes, the east and west. We've got another annex here, which is in the middle of the length of the building. We'll show you that, and have Liz explain what she's going to use that for. Up ahead behind me is the entrance way, and over on the far side we have another annex. That one doesn't face the river, that one faces the street. So
we're in the main cat adoption area. And one of the best things about this newly designed facility is it's more than one room for all the adoptable cats. There are separate rooms. And that gives us a real advantage for when, for example, an animal gets sick, or an animal's really shy, or having a hard time getting adopted, or things like that. And so having the variety of rooms and being able to keep animals in separate rooms is going to be a real advantage for us. And different types of housing too. So for cats that aren't shy, they'll be able to be right here on the corridor in the limelight for potential adopters to see them. And the cats that need a little more space and need a little bit more hiding time will have options in other kinds of rooms. And we'll have a meet and greet room. So if somebody wants to meet some cats, and they can take them into an area and meet them separately, so they don't have to do it in the hallway or another room that might not be appropriate for that. So really excited about the different kinds of spaces and being able to use them in this facility. So it's better for the community and better for the cats.
We're here in one of the annexes, and we're looking at the air handling above. When we were in the mechanical loft, you'll see that we did have heat pumps, and we don't actually have the air handling down at the south end yet. But I just wanted to show you this before we got this covered up. Once it leaves what I call the linear room, where it actually goes to the place where it needs to be and starts all the branch circuits, you can see within the framework how complex it is. So the mechanical loft that we were in before, that is actually up over here, and then from that ductwork's coming out, and then you have in the branches, and then you'll have your supply sides coming down into each of these rooms and spaces. Now, of course, if you have a supply side, you're going to have a return side. So all these rooms and spaces that are above here will all, once again, have return air ducts that go up. And in this case, what they'll go up to is they'll go up to the large duct, the rectangular duct here, not the spiral duct on the top. And that duct has a little area where it expands to meet the cross-sectional area of the coil. Now, the coil on this one, it's on an exhaust air. And so one of the things that they're trying to recover is if it's cold day and there's warm air going outside, they'll actually try and take that energy and put it back in the system. And if it's a warm day outside and it's cold air going out, they'll take that coolness and bring that back. And the way they'll do that is with the glycol lines and refrigeration, basically, technology. And that little pan that you see at the bottom, that's condensate pan, the same as you'd see on on any commercial freezer, and then past that, you'll actually see the air. We tend to put the fans on the downstream side of the coils, and the reason for that is you get better linear airflow across coils when you're actually sucking through them rather than when you're blowing at them. And then outside there'll be a louver, and that will discharge all the air. So with that, we'll take a look out here on this beautiful day. So behind me, what you see is you see a nice select wooded area, a little bit of a plain down there. What's interesting about that, and the reason why I'm talking about that in relation to the HVAC in here, is because the well field for the glycol is actually out there. That's where we put the loops. We came out of the building with some main supply and returns, and then we went across with a header, and then we bored down and under that entire plane. So we're able to use the energy from that plane pumping the glycol around. Basically, if we need to heat it up, we can put it in and put that energy back into the well field. If we need to pull it out, we can pull it out. And so that will actually be how we heat this building, is by compressing it, basically the glycol, and pumping it down there.
So another fabulous thing about being in this location is because we are on the bike trail, which will increase our traffic like we used to have back at the old shelter. So being closer in versus 5 miles south of town will be much better for volunteers and visitors, and really for our animal control officers too, to be able to service the areas that they need to be going to calls on. So this is a great location for us. It's beautiful, and volunteers will be able to walk dogs along the trail and even down around the Sand Lake area. So we're really fortunate and really happy that we were able to put the shelter in this location, much more central to our community, better for the animals and better for the people.
So I think one of the things that people don't get about what we're doing here, or they look at it in amazement when they do see it, is that, you know, this is really a marketing operation, and it's actually tied to a beautiful facility that can take care of found dogs and cats and any particular animal that is not just the Iowa City area. There's a lot of communities that are going to use this. One of the things that they have is they have communications in and around here. They're going to have volunteers, they're going to have staff, they're going to have computers, they're going to need wash down. And so here's an area where we've actually got a lot of the services in. And I wanted to show you this before it's all hidden behind the drywall in here. As you can see, we've got the conduit for the communications, conduit for the electrical. We got hot and cold water coming down for washout slop sinks. I won't call them slop sinks, washout sinks. And so when you look at those walls when this is finished, you know, you got to remember that there's a lot more going on in this area than you'd just imagine.
You're watching City Channel 4. On TV, online, on demand, on Facebook, and now on the go on your mobile device.